Well, a wicket of the last ball that completes England's innings doesn't change the fact that this has been England's day. And what a day it's been. It was the Joe Root show under the sun at Lords on day three of this second test. And it leaves England with a lead of 27 after their first innings. 3 days of cricket gone. This is supposed to be the moving day. We tend to get an idea of where this test match is heading. And so let's ask Steve Harmison and VVS Laxman. It'll be hard work to figure out what to predict over the next 2 days. But Steve, day three just belongs to Joe Root in England.
Joe Root in England, it couldn't have gone any better, to be honest. I thought he was magnificent. His grace, his elegance, his determination, his style, and his class at the crease, and his ability to, change gear and not let the bowler bowl to him, and make sure that, that you never felt as he was under pressure. It was a masterclass, absolute masterclass of Test match batting. And he had a little bit of fun at the end, just to show maybe he's the England captains the other format, that he can still, he still has one day shots in his locker. Absolute masterclass. And England 27 runs ahead. Are you looking at it because they have to bat last? You think probably even Stephen where this Test match is right now.
Lakshman, that's a long, hard day for India's fast bowlers.
Yeah, and I thought they did well, especially post lunch. I think they stuck to their task, and they have to also admit that they came across a master in the form of Joe Root. He was in total control. Not many times did he give any kind of opportunity to the Indian bowlers, and I think the way he dominated while he was on the crease was just fantastic to see. But from India bowling point of view, the biggest plus has been the emergence of Siraj. I think the way he has improved in each and every innings he has bowled so far in this Test series, his aggression, his energy, and also his intensity. Because the first over he bowled yesterday till the last over he bowled today, I didn't see any drop as far as his speed is concerned, which shows that he's not only enthusiastic but also is fit, and that is really good as far as his future is concerned. And then also as the innings progress, you could see Ishan Sharma getting back that rhythm, getting back that confidence, and a couple of wickets which he took shows that he's got back his rhythm, and he's someone who will play a very important role in the second innings of this Test match.
Steve, what was your assessment of India's collective bowling effort in what were trying conditions?
Yeah, it was trying conditions. It was a good surface. It's hard to bowl at somebody who doesn't let you bowl at him. It's hard when he has an answer for your good balls. And every sort of every good area that India hit, Joe Root was able to score off. He was able to just drop his hands and run it down to the third man, or he was able to work across the crease and just knock it into the gap on the leg side. And as a bowler, that's so frustrating because you never really feel as though you can get any momentum built up and really put pressure on the batsman. I thought that they worked hard, they toiled hard. Slight concern on Jasprit Bumrah. I'm not sure he was quite at it today. But I agree with VVS. I think the longer the game went on, the better Ishant Sharma got. Shami bowled well. Siraj, I love Siraj. I think he's brilliant. The energy he shows, the determination he goes at the batsman. He's not shy to give it a bit of a volley either. When it comes to verbally, he's in the game all the time. And for me, he's been up there with the pick of the India bowlers. So you can't really complain too much if you're on the India side. I think Virat Kohli could have had a better day with some of the field positions, but I think all in all, I think sometimes you just have to say, the best man won today, and that was Joe Root.
Yep,
One
fair
thing,
enough.
one thing, Raunak, I think which India can't afford to do is to bowl 17 no balls.
Yeah.
Today they were lucky that they didn't get any wicket of a no ball, but such things happen in the past. And suddenly the fortune of the match can just change or shift because of the mistake, which can be controlled easily. So 17 no balls from an international team, I believe, is unacceptable.
Yeah, it's a very fair point. Not to mention, this will further go into the calculation for the overs lost for the World Test
Yeah.
Championship. Steve?
No balls used to count as two, and they're only one now. They changed the rules, and if you put another 17 runs on that, then you'd think, right, 44. That's it. That's a decent sized lead for England's point of view. So yeah, ill discipline, both sides of the wickets, but definitely It's not good enough from a no-ball point of view. And I think Jasper Bumrah bowled 13 of them, which you could just see he just wasn't quite clicking. Where he didn't have any rhythm and he wasn't quite clicking from either end. And maybe it was the what we talked about at lunchtime. The beauty about bowling at Lords. It's very, very difficult sometimes when you're not used to it.
Yeah, about half of those came in that last over that he bowled on the day. I'd asked Steve Harmison yesterday if the fast bowlers tend to be a bit nice to each other. I think I've got my answer. What did you make of
Yeah,
that Bumrah to Anderson over, Steve? Feel for your old colleague?
I think if I was Jimmy Anderson, I'd be thinking, I'm 40-year-old. Do I really need to be facing Jasper Bumrah bowling these things? I must admit, I'd have been thinking, yeah. And I wouldn't have been having a go at Jasper Bumrah. I'd have been having a go at the third umpire saying, just let it be. I'm not bothered about the one run. I just want to be down the other end. I don't want to be here. You can keep the run. I'm not that bothered. Joe's got enough for us. And I'm sure that was going through Jimmy Anderson's mind and thinking his heart sank every time there was the arm went out. But ill discipline, it got punished. It got punished big time. And it's something that I would imagine the bowling unit will be talking about in the dressing room right now.
I wonder, Laxman, if you were Bumrah's captain during that over, whether you would have a word with him and say, you know what, it's okay. We don't need to anger Anderson any more than we already need to. Do you just want to keep it up instead of hitting him?
Luckily, they're not playing against Pat Cummins or Stark. They know that Jimmy Anderson cannot bowl a bouncer, or if he bowls a bouncer, it's in fact advantageous for the batsman because whenever he pitches the ball up, that is the wicket-taking delivery for Jimmy Anderson. But I think that the plan sometimes is to intimidate the opposition best bowler. And it's not that they are intentionally bowling those no balls to hurt Jimmy Anderson, but I think the plan was very clear that we are going to bowl short stuff to him. And you have to be ruthless sometimes. You have to be ruthless because I've seen in the past, even in my playing career, if suppose there is some bowler who's a real threat to the opposition batting lineup, the opposition bowlers will try to injure him, and if he fractures his hand and he's out of the test series, I think it will be a huge advantage for the team. So sometimes you have to be ruthless, and this is international cricket, it's not under 19 cricket. And I can understand that was a ploy to intimidate and make him uncomfortable at the crease.
Even though Jimmy Anderson can't return the favor, the fast bowlers seem to have a bit of a group where, all right.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's no doubt about it. And that's the beauty. In fact, that is the beauty. You want Mark Wood, you want Robinson. I'm sure Sam Curran also cannot bowl those boxes, but I'm sure Robinson and Mark Wood will return that favor to Jasper Bumrah and all the four tailenders.
Ever done that, Steve?
Once or twice, and it's come back to haunt me a couple of times. I remember being a very, very young tearaway at Durham, and David Boone, great Australian, was captain at Durham, and he came over to me and said, if you bowl enough, you'll not bowl for the rest of the day. So bowl bounces, yeah, that's all he wanted you to do. So I bowled was him a barrage of bouncers, and then I walked out to the wicket. I couldn't see, there was nobody in front of me. Short leg, all Tilly Point were all behind me, slips behind me, leg slip behind me. And I'm thinking, I might not get many in my half here. And this thing went whizzing, I was only about 18, went whizzing past me nose. And Waz got right to me nose and he just looked at me and he went, Harmison, I'm going to kill you. And I was like, where's David Boone now? Where is he now? Where's he now? When he goes, just go on, honestly. So I learned me lesson a little bit, but hey, it's one of them. It's one of them things that I actually thought Bumrah had Jimmy Anderson where he wanted him for about 3 balls, and then he could have gone at the stumps and it could have gone. That would have been game, set, and match. But I agree with VVS. If he can get one in the rib cage and maybe just a little body blow. It goes a long way of where Bumrah's day was and the frustration of Bumrah's day. And he kept overstepping because he was trying too hard because things weren't going for him.
All right. Now, we'll never really know the answer to this, but how much, Laxman, did India miss an Ashwin or a World Class?
Don't even come to that question, Ronak.
On a day where the seamers, like you've said, can't really be faulted on. So how much do you think Virat Kohli missed having someone like Ashwin today?
Well, I'm not sure Virat Kohli missed, but I definitely miss watching Ravichandran Ashwin not play in this match. Because as I told, this in this series, Lords is the test match where I always felt, apart from Oval, where a spinner will play a very important role. Because both Lords and Oval, if the overcast conditions is not there, the sun out, it becomes a placid batting surface. And as the match progresses, there's a big advantage for spinner because the wicket become little abrasive, the footmarks of the bowlers will be there, and the fourth and fifth day the spinners will come very handy. In fact, they can turn the match on its head with their skill. So I just feel that days like this, which we saw even in Nottingham on the fourth day, you want the experience of Ravichandran Ashwin instead of going with the fourth fast bowler. So I'm not really sure that how much Ashwin sitting in the dressing room was missing, not being part of action. I'm not sure. I just hope that he keeps up his morale because as an international player, you never know when the opportunity comes your way. So you have to be mentally positive and mentally preparing for and being ready for that opportunity.
I mean, it's not only a discussion in hindsight, Steve. Both of you have, endorsed your view that Ashwin should have played this test. But from the evidence of what you saw today, would you, if you have to speculate, would he have made a big difference?
I think you would have made a difference on control. I think you would have given India a little bit more control, and I think you would have bowled a lot more balls at Joe Root, and it would have been easier to set a field and keep them down at one end and try and build a bit of pressure. If you look at Ravi Jadeja, he bowled 22 overs, never really looked threatening. I actually think he bowled at the wrong end. I actually think he should have bowled at the pavilion end, but he give India some control. Didn't really look like taking many wickets, but if you've got an Ashwin that can give you some control and be a bit more of a threat, then all of a sudden the pressure is and the ball's you're not going at 3 and over and easy singles and rotation of strike is coming. So I think the build up of pressure would have definitely have been a little bit more with Ashwin in the side, and then your seamers can be the attacking option in the first innings, and then you've got two spinners for backup. I just think the balance of India's side is a lot better with two spinners in it. And like I said many times in this program before, it's not just two any spinners. It's Ravi Ashwin, who's one of the best spin bowlers of all time, off spin bowlers, and Jadeja is a very, very good number two, especially when he's bowling with our Ashwin. So I still say that they made the mistake in Trent Bridge, and I still believe they made the mistake in this Test match as well by not playing Ravi Ashwin.
I always feel, Ronak, that you really require variety. You require variety in your attack. And if you see all the four fast bowlers, they are very similar in the way they bowl. Hit the deck bowler, use the wrist and get the ball into the right-hander. So I just feel that Ravichandran Ashwin would have been, that variation would have probably posed different questions to the batsmen. And in the bargain, the fast bowlers would also benefit from that. Like, why was Shane Warne so successful in England? Why was Muralidharan so successful in England? Why was someone like even Kumble successful in England? Because if you're a quality spinner, if you ask again what we discussed in the first test match, what we discussed before the start of this test match, if you're a quality spinner, you can trouble the English batsmen on any surface. And Ashwin would be that attacking spin option compared to Ravindra Jadeja. Because as I told during the lunch break, when we had a discussion about Jadeja is going with the mindset of restricting the flow of runs. Whereas Ashwin, while restricting the flow of runs, would have been that wicket-taking option, the attacking option for Virat Kohli. And that would have helped the fast bowlers to bowl in short balls and be more penetrative.
All right. Fair enough. Well, if you're wondering 15, 16 minutes into this show whether we've not discussed Joe Root enough, we had a full glorification of Joe Root at tea time. And I don't know if there's anything more we can add to it, but it's nice to have EVS Laxman here because I'm sure he can relate to perhaps those few days in your career, Laxman, when you felt a sense of invincibility. There might have been the odd near plane miss, but you almost felt like today, I'm not going to get out. I'll hate everything. And that was one of those days, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this year has been one of those years, which a player of the caliber of Joe Root is capitalizing. England beat Sri Lanka just because of the brilliance of Joe Root, the batsman. India, if they came to India, they started off really well, and he got a double hundred in Chennai. Even then, in that Test match, in that innings, he was looking almost someone who was in total control of the things. And in this Test series so far, I mean, he's head and shoulders above the rest of the batsmen, and I'm talking about the batsmen from both the sides. And the best thing about it is when you have that feeling where you can't make a mistake or you can dominate and do whatever you want to do, but never for once Joe Root went away from his game plan. Never for one Joe Root did something which is out of the ordinary. He played the manner he played in the first innings in Nottingham. He played the manner where he's consistent, and that is something which is a hallmark of a great batsman. Even though things are going his way, he's still focusing on the plan which he has set at the start of the series and backing his plan and showing that belief in that plan. And some of the shots he played, when you see the meeting points, so close to the body, under his eyes, playing the ball as late as possible. We talked about Josh Butler reaching out towards the ball, but not once did we see Joe Root do that, even though he got to 100, even though he got to a 150. That means he's played with a lot of responsibility, and that really augurs well for England in this series. The captain is in tremendous form. Captain is setting example for others to follow.
I wonder how much the last few weeks or last few months of this calendar year, which is still just over 8 months old, Steve, has got to do with how England will look at Joe Root as a member of their rich cricket history. I was fascinated to listen to the conversation between Andrew Strauss and Mike Atherton of, you look back and you think a player that averages above 50 is a great player if you have to, put some sort of yardsticks to it. There are many great players that went below 50, but they spoke of Ken Barrington as, the only post-war example. I think they missed out Dennis Compton in that. You have Joe Root now. Some of the achievements today with, the second youngest to 9,000 test runs ahead of Tendulkar. He went past Graham Gooch in this test match. He's got half of his hundreds as test captain. He's got more 150 plus scores as captain of England. What's his place, do you think, in England's history as a result of what English cricket has seen in the last few months?
Yeah, for me, he's right up there, and I actually think he's probably the very best multi-format player that England have ever had, and that's saying something because I think he's just going by Kevin Peterson in my eyes on that. I still believe Kevin Peterson was the best player that not only I played with, but the best player of all time from England. So I might be able to say that Joe Root's the best Englishman of all time, and Kevin Peterson's the best English player I played with. So can I get away with that one? I might just get away with that one to sort of look after them both. But I tell you what a player this kid is, and I mean all-round game is just frighteningly phenomenal. And what we said about Jimmy Anderson over the course of the last few days, we say the same about Joe. He's going to go down as one of England's all-time greats. And it's an amazing when you get a test match 100 in the first test match of a series, especially a five match series, and you get it in the first innings. I'm not saying it's easier as the test series goes on, but all of a sudden the bowlers turn up to the ground and think, I've got to bowl at him again. And if he gets past 20, 30 balls, it's like, oh my word, he's in. And I would imagine it's like when VVS was playing with the likes of Sachin and Rahul Dravid. The minute, that's how I felt. If Rahul got in for more than 30 balls, it was like I'm gonna have to watch his forward defence for the next 6 hours while the likes of Tendulkar and Laxman and Ganguly and everybody else come in and whack it everywhere. So it has a mindset on the bowler, and I think that's where the Indian bowlers are right now at bowling at Joe Root.
Joe Root was obviously young in 2012 when he made that debut against India, Laxman. And you've, of course, seen Kevin Peterson, Alistair Cook as great adversaries. If you had to, put their places in history, where would you put Joe Root?
Up there. But, I feel KP was just an unbelievable batsman. A batsman who could tear apart any attack in any condition, any situation. I've seen him score runs against us in England, in India. I've seen him score runs against Australia, against the mighty Australian bowling lineup, and the way he used to dominate. I mean, he's the best English batsman I've seen. Joe Root is up there again, just pure consistency and just the appetite of scoring those big runs. Yeah, we talked that he didn't convert that half centuries into 100 more frequently, more often. But remember, he was getting to those half century also frequently or consistently, which means that not many times has he disappointed his team with his bat. But I think one of great batsmen, which I already mentioned, is when you hit a purple patch or when you're going through a purple patch, how do you maximize that? Because cricket is a great leveler. There will be times when you go through a rough patch, but whenever you have those runs in the bank, that will look after the time when you're going through a rough patch. And that is what great players do. Great players with whom I played always did that. So I think Joe Root is up there, but KP has to be the best English/South African batsman who played for England.
Yeah. Well, let's clip this out, both your answers, and tag KP on Twitter to make sure he sees it, right? But that's brilliant. I know there are those that don't like to make comparisons.
Yeah.
We've witnessed two great batters in the last 20 years, three if you count Alistair Cook, and you should count Alistair Cook. So it's just something that gives you a little perspective of players who played alongside and against some of these great players. Right. Before we wind up, where do we stand? 27 runs. Do we have a number in mind, Lakshman? If you're the Indian batting lineup now, you're thinking, okay, I've seen how easy it's been to bat on day three. You're trying to, speculate how it's going to be day four, day five. Do you have a number in mind? 200's a good score, 240's a winning score.
No, I think anything above 250 will be a winning score. And this I'm talking, keeping in mind the track and keeping in mind the form of Joe Root. Because when you're chasing anything less than 250 and the kind of form Joe Root is in, and I thought I saw the glimpse of good form from Johnny Bairstow and also Moeen Ali. So I think, then one partnership, a couple of partnerships, suddenly you find yourself under pressure, which I'm sure Indian batsman or Indian team doesn't want to be in. So I think anything above 250, closer to 300 will be an ideal target. And I think that is possible, keeping in mind that you're going to get full 180 overs.
Could there possibly be a deeper impact of this innings on India when they think about that target, Steve? Rory Burns got some runs, Johnny Bairstow's got some runs, Moeen Ali looked all right for the time that he was in. Suddenly, when you're thinking, yeah, 220, 230, and we should back ourselves, suddenly it goes closer to 300?
Yeah, you think that, but then there's a time element comes into this. 180 overs to bowl. I think the weather's set fair, so I think we should be all right to get 180 overs in. The pitch doesn't look as though it's getting any worse. The pitch actually looks as though it's very, very placid, and it seems to be getting better and better. I'm not sure if that's just because of Joe Root. And to win the game, somebody's got to bowl somebody out. I believe now. I don't think it's a declaration. I think somebody's got to bowl somebody out. And if it's England bowl India out to win the game, you had to chase whatever total that India get. I think that for me would be the most likely result, and whether India has got enough energy to get through three sessions with the bat to get a total which will be either something to bowl at. Bear in mind, you've got bowlers who have bowled a lot of overs, and then have to go back and do it again the next year, which is obviously we're on fifth year. That's going to be a tall order as well, especially without a recognised wicket-taking spinner. So all that comes into it. And the one thing I'm sitting here thinking, it just shows what a disappointment it was losing that fifth day at Nottingham. Because if we had a fifth day, we would have had a winner. Somebody would have been 1-0 up. And then it would have been interesting to see if that team that was behind would have tried to make the running in the game. But at this minute in time, I'm not sure both captains will want to risk going 1-0 down here by taking too many risks. So if we see how the game goes out, and if the pitch stays flat, I think we might be looking at a boring draw.
All right. Well, let's hope it's not boring. It won't be when we're discussing it with Laxman and Harmison. So thank you very much to both of you gentlemen. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you again on day four now. India didn't have a good morning session on day two. Let's see how their batters respond in the first session on day four, and we'll be with VVS Laxman and Steve Harmison at ESPN Riggin for Match Day at lunch. So do join us there.